Okay. Solani, you're our tech support, is that correct?
That's right.
Great. So my name is Donna Getzenberger, and I'm with District 5495 in Arizona. I'm also part of Scanex, which is a multi-district, along with Tom. I am the Rotary chair for our district in Arizona. There's a couple of different districts in Arizona. I'm with 5495. And I am a mom to 2 outbounds, or now Rotex, and I've been a host mom to many inbounds. And after hosting our first inbound about 5 years ago, I obviously learned more about Rotary. I was not a Rotarian at the time. I was just asked to host by a neighbor. And I hosted my first student, and she changed our lives. She changed my family. She changed our understanding about international relations. And it was a wonderful experience. I can't say enough about it for hosting. And we hosted again the next year, and then got more involved and said, well, wait a minute, why aren't we Rotarians? And so my husband and I then became Rotarians. And since then, I've had obviously 2 daughters who were influenced and also went outbound. And then within, I don't know, a year and a half, I found myself as the outbound chair. And then within 6 months after that, I found myself as the Rotary Youth Exchange Chair for our district. So I'm fairly new, with only about 5 years, going on 6 years in Rotary and Rotary Youth Exchange in general. So that's my story. And then I'll introduce you to Paige. Paige, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Paige, and for the year 2019-2020, I was an exchange student in the south of Austria in a small little town. And I got to experience the virus while being an exchange student, which was very interesting. But I got to complete my exchange year, so I came back in July. And I look forward to staying in Rotary and hopefully giving you guys some ideas and maybe some topics to consider, which I already put a few in the chat to start thinking about, that we can leave room for discussion and everything too. So does everyone want to quickly introduce themselves and maybe say just a few words really quick about their involvement in Rotary over the years? I'll just go in order. So Solani, would you like to just introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm a Rotary Peace Fellow. So I'm one of the beneficiaries of the many great things that Rotary International Rotary clubs do. I was in Tokyo, Japan for the year 2017 to 2019, pursuing a master's in peace studies. And now I'm based out of Mumbai, putting to action all the lessons I learned during my coursework in Tokyo. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you so much. Now, Mark, would you like to say something?
Hi there, I'm mostly a bystander. I'm from District 5000. I was involved with Scanex probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I haven't, I'm really catching up, but I'm interested to hear what Tom has to say about Rotex. One of the challenges for us has always been keeping in touch with our exchange students after they return. Actually, I still follow some of the older exchange students on Facebook, and they're remarkably, it's amazing what they do after their exchange.
Great. So we'll let Tom share a bit after we get through the introductions, and because Tom, I think it will be a great resource to our group. So Paige, continue on with the introductions with everybody else, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's move on to Hal. I'm just going in order on my screen.
Hi, I'm the district chair for 5030. 5030 is the greater Seattle area. We basically are King County, Washington, which is Seattle and its suburbs. We've been involved in youth exchange for many, many years, and I have to admit we've done a very poor job staying in contact with our ROTECs. Our main involvement with them is to invite them to participate in the district orientation sessions, which would also include the student and family interviews. And then we also have a session in one of our orientations that involved culture shock and homesickness, and the ROTECs have been very active with that. But those are recent ROTECs. We can't even find most of the ROTECs that are out for 5 years or even less than that. So I'm here to learn some tips as to how to do that better. So thanks very much.
All right, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Gross, here on the island of Kauai. Our club has hosted typically 2 students a year for the past 15 years. I've done everything from host to counselor to YEO to it all, and it's just been an awesome experience. And I don't know, we'll wait until after the introductions of everyone else, and then if you want, I can say a few things. I don't know.
I think that would work good. Let's just continue on with the introductions, and then we'll really get into the meat of what our session's about. And then we'll appoint a recorder and a reporter after the introductions, so that we have a really good reporting and recording of our conversations. Go ahead, Paige.
All right, Jen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm from the district that's close to House District, but more the Peninsula and Olympia and Tacoma in Washington State. And I was an exchange student many, many years ago. So I'm one of the returns to Rotary, and look forward to being involved locally in our district from here on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Christy?
Hi, Christy Redlinger, but I won't be Redlinger until one more week when I get married. So I am a ROTEC as well. I went to France in 1989. Both of my children have gone on age in 2015 to Germany, and 2013 to Germany, 2015 to Brazil, and I've hosted 13 students. So I think that's all we need during the introduction.
Perfect. Alinio?
Yeah, hi everybody. Alinio Acevedo. I'm with the Rotary Club of Aspen in Colorado. Was a YEO for the club, and then recently transitioned to be kind of helping Christy at the district level with a short-term program. Former exchange student myself, not through Rotary, but through a different program. But my wife was a former exchange student from Rotary back in the 90s.
Thank you. Mike?
Hello, Mike Markley. I'm in Boise, Idaho, District 5400. I'm the Youth Exchange Chair. I just started my term in July, and after 6 years of being the Outbound Coordinator, which has been the funnest volunteer job ever. I've hosted, my wife and I have hosted 9 students. My story is kind of like you, Donna, where I hosted, I think, 3 students before I joined Rotary. And I thought it was a terrible idea at the beginning, but it did change our life, and it's been an amazing ride. So anyway, I've been involved with Rebounds and ROTECs as part of the Outbound coordination.
Thank you. Brandy?
Hi, I am Brandy, brand new with Rotary's District 5400, worked with Mike. My daughter was an exchange student last year. She just returned in July, or the end of June. And I was also a Rotary exchange student to Argentina. So that's my experience.
Thank you. Linda?
I'm Linda Bauer from District 5080. I'm District Governor nominee. We've hosted a student, but I've not been very involved in the program, and so I'm just popping around from session to session today just to learn and absorb. And And yeah, keeping our exchange students in Rotary is an awesome goal. And as we're growing new clubs and things like that, there may be some big opportunities there.
Thank you. And then lastly, Janine.
Good morning, I'm Janine Sparks from District 5180. Are we talking about our experience?
Yes, just a brief introduction. Keep it short and simple.
My daughter went outbound from Sacramento, California to South Korea in 2015-16. She came back, applied for colleges, and she is in her last year of college at Korea University. We've hosted a few students, but I'm since I'm on the district committee, I can't host any more students for a little while. I'm the inbound coordinator this year, and next year I'll be the district chair. So good to see you all.
All right, thank you everyone. So now we're going to get into the meat of this discussion. So we're going to discuss the different ways that we can engage ROTEC. So would anyone like to of the different things that people are saying, and then the reporter, who at the end we're gonna probably wrap this up at around 11:05, and then we're going to discuss the main topics, and that's what the reporter will do, is just overview of the topics.
So Paige, you cut out for a minute. So we're looking for a volunteer to be the recorder and reporter. Recorder to record all of the information, and a reporter to summarize at the end all the information for us. Anybody want to be the reporter? Thumb? No? Okay, I'll be the reporter. Anybody want to be the recorder? Paige, can you record?
Yes, I can record unless someone else would like to take that role so that I can kind of lead this discussion. Okay, thank you, Janine. And we can just put all of our ideas into the chat. Please use that chat function, because that's just one way that we could really make sure to get those notes down as well. So to begin with ROTEC's engagement, are there specific ways that you guys as districts have found are really, really useful in retaining these people and leading them into Rotary programs? So as far as our district goes, we are really active on social media and have really found that as a really good tool to use, and as well as gaining feedback from ROTECs as well for these programs too.
Paige, could you amplify when you say you're really good on social media? There's lots of social media. Which ones do you use? What do you put out there, and how often?
So we post pretty often just pictures of our exchange program. So kids outbound, kids inbound, and we really like to highlight these students as well. So a student spotlight can be really useful. So one student can do an Instagram takeover. Instagram is a great tool because pretty much everyone in my generation has it. Facebook, not so much. We're not as active, the younger people, on Facebook. Instagram is really where you can really connect to the younger people and get those people in, and stories are a great way to do that as well, and posting events on social media as well is really useful, and RYE, and that's a great place to put the link to applications, things like that as well. And social media is just really key going forward. Does anyone else have experience with social media?
We do in our district, but I wanted to ask you, what is an Instagram takeover, and what's the difference between a story and an event, and how do you find those to be useful?
Okay, so an Instagram takeover is when you can give a student who is outbound or inbound access to the Instagram account, and they will post on their stories. So it lasts for one day, and it will be like a little bubble at the top where you click on it, and they can literally record themselves a day in their lives and go with them throughout their day, whether that's just a normal post. This is what it's like being an exchange student. This is what it's like being a Rotex. These are the things that we're doing right now. And that's how you're going to keep connected with these people, because you can connect to other Rotex districts and other clubs and other places as well to do this. So just keeping that connection going, and that's really going to connect the older generations to the newer generations as well.
Paige, in an earlier session, TikTok was mentioned as some people using that. Who knows if TikTok's going to be around in the United States after this, but maybe it will be. So, do you have any experience with TikTok? I thought it was just about people dancing, but obviously it's more than that. So, why don't you brief us all about what TikTok is, if you use it?
I use TikTok as more of like a fun thing. Sometimes it can be good to get viral ideas out there, but I think Instagram is really key, because that is where things are going to stay. Videos can easily get lost on TikTok. If you're one of the lucky people, it works out. But Instagram is where you're going to form those one-on-one connections, because there's also the chat features. So people and students who come across it are going to see that and be like, oh, what's this? Oh, I was an exchange student in that district. What is going on now that I can get involved in? And I feel like that point doesn't really get put across well on TikTok. So as far as keeping students engaged who have already been involved in the program, that is what you can do. And giving students who are coming home and exchange students who are currently there access and links to this social media account, that's going to keep them connected long term. So they're going to see, oh, the district conference is coming up. That's something, here's the link, I can attend it, and things like that. So just keeping students involved and just seeing that's a place where you can put, oh, we're having a club mixer, please join. If you're a past exchange student, please join. Or this is how you can get involved in Rotex. These are our service projects, and different things like that. So messaging, and then also just aiding in transitioning into new roles can also be easily done over social media and group chats on WhatsApp and things like that. These are all things that can be done as well.
Can you tell us how to find your Instagram page so we can go look for it?
Yes, my mom can put it in the chat right now, all of our social media links.
Great.
So I have a question. Oh, sorry.
You can go right ahead, Janine.
Christy, I keep interrupting you. I have a question, Paige. It sounds like we need to get some of the Rotex to share our events, not just us sharing our events, because the right people may not be looking at us old fogey Instagram accounts. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, so just what I recommend as well is creating a rebound package where you're providing all of the rebounds already with the information on the incoming projects, the social media accounts, and that's how you're going to do that. You need to provide those resources right off the bat, or they're not going to know, and they're going to get lost in the wave of just all of the past exchange students and then never stay involved. So social media is a way where you can connect the older people with the younger people as well, as long as all of these people are following the account. So the more people that are following the account, the more people are getting connected with each other.
So I can tell you in our district, the main ways that we engage our rebounds are, first of all, we do host a rebound orientation to bring them all back together. And we tell them that it's the way that they can definitely share their stories. When the people in their own communities are tuned out, they want to hear, how was your year? It was good, thanks, move on, get back to the real world here. And the rebounds really want to hear what the other rebounds have to say. So we usually get really good attendance at those. And then we asked them at that event to start helping us to plan the inbound orientation, although we very rarely get very many of them to attend that. It's usually at the beginning of the school year. Some have gone off to college, so it's a bad time. But at the beginning of December, we do our interviews for outbound candidates. And we have the most recent Rebounds do a country fair in partnership with our inbound. And then anybody that is any older than that is eligible to join the interview panel. And we've had a lot of interest with kids coming back, and they want to do that. They want to be part of the selection process for the next group, but it's really difficult to engage them beyond that. What I did do about 10 years ago now was form a Rotex Facebook group, and I add in every outbound class to that Rotex Facebook group, and I share information that way. But as the generation is going away from Facebook, it's becoming less and less and less effective. So I would love to have something like that on Instagram, but I've been told those types of groups don't form. It's just, I don't have another way to try to keep everybody engaged.
WhatsApp could be a possibility because that is something that pretty much all exchange students had access to while on exchange, and it's a free messaging app, and just creating a large group chat could possibly be an option. And I really like how you mentioned kind of like a rebound retreat. We also do that, and our rebounds love that because we love talking about exchange. That's what we love, talking about ourselves. It's great. And talking about our experiences and everything like that. And at these rebound retreats, or whatever you want to call them, creating focus groups with the rebounds on what they want next from Rotary can be really beneficial in learning what they want to do next. And that's something, if they're seeing what they want to do, they're going to be more engaged. And also, this is a great way to do the delegation of duties. So if you're going to have a Rotex group or a Rotex president, that is one way as well at these kind of rebound retreats or rebound events where this can be a possibility as well. And also, one thing that me and my mom have been brainstorming is the possibility of a mentorship program. So rebounds being a mentor or another resource for an inbound student. And that's one way that you can keep those students in. So in their 3-year commitment, that 3rd year, taking advantage of them and creating them and forming them into a mentor. Because we also love interacting with inbound students, or even possibly outbound students. You know, these are the things that I experience. These are certain apps, you know. We were on exchange and we know what to do, and that's something also that can bridge the gap as well. By keeping them engaged with youth exchange, that can lead to further involvement in Rotary. Does anyone else have any specific methods that their district uses to help connect rebounds or keep them in? Anything like that?
Can I jump in here? This is Mike Markley. In our district, we have a rebound retreat, which is a good way to get them reconnected with one another within that class, and then we encourage the immediate. And when I say rebound, it's like that year immediately following the return, and we get them involved in the selection process and the other events. It's kind of tricky because of school schedules, especially for those who go off to university right after. But anyway, there's a couple of things that we do to keep them connected.
As we become more fluent in Zoom, this is a great way that you can create events, is just doing them virtually and just getting kids talking as well. So things like this, but with Rotex, or with Rotex and Rebounds and other clubs, other districts, forming those connections between the younger and older generations. Because if you keep them separate, then there's not going to be a link between them. So online conferences that they can join is a possibility as well. I'm pretty sure I am the youngest person in this conference. I haven't seen any other young people. So things like this, invite rebounds to things like this so they can learn what Rotary is doing and how they can be more involved.
We had a get together and invited all of our past inbounds, so it wasn't really a rebound or Rotex thing, and just had them talk about where they were today, what they're doing today, and that was really, really, really nice. So things like that would be good too. We also tried to have just before COVID-19 an in-person get together, just like a little Rotex party. Invited all of our past outbounds, and really we didn't have a lot of success with that. And I think we don't know where our outbounds, where our Rotex are in a lot of cases. They've changed phone numbers and changed emails and maybe closed their Facebook account, or so how have people just kept track of where their Rotex are? That's what I'm curious about.
Anyone have any input on that? You're muted.
Christy, you're muted.
Thanks, sorry about that. Since we started using when we send out emails inviting rebounds to any kind of event, the natural parents are copied. So even if those emails don't make it to the kids, at least the parents are getting it and they can pass it on. But I hadn't really considered just asking right off the bat, if your child has changed emails, please tell us so that we can keep them in our system. But that's only back to, for us, I guess it's back to the 2014-15 exchange year. We can't go any farther back than that.
Does anyone have any?
I have a comment. I don't know. I mean, I was just brainstorming here, but you know how colleges all have alumni associations and all of that. I wonder how hard it would be to have an alumni association, sort of like for Rotarians or for rebounds. And
does anyone have any ideas on how maybe an alumni association could be formed and used in their districts?
Well, doesn't NAEN have a whole lot to do with Rotex? I get emails from them occasionally. North American Youth Exchange Network, Brandy, is something that's that many, I guess all of us in Rotary Youth Exchange in the United States, all of our districts and multi-districts are members of this group called North American Youth Exchange. And they seem to spend a lot of time and interest on Rotex, including Rotex annual meeting in conjunction with the NAEN annual meeting. Does anybody recognize what I'm talking about, or am I the only one that reads the stuff from NAEN?
No, that's true. That's true. That they are trying to. They have a couple of Rotex members on the board of NAEN,
right?
And and Rotex is kind of getting. They've been regionalized over the years, but more recently they're getting a more global organization put together, and I think NAEN is helping with that, or at least supporting it.
And there is a Rotary effort. It is a Rotary alumni effort where they send information out, at least to the club presidents. Maybe they need to get to the district chairs too, and try to gather that information. So there's a link that we're supposed to post and ask our students to register and give their information to Rotary so that Rotary can stay in contact. But I don't know who does it, and I don't know how we get that information if they do give it to Rotary International.
Well, I actually contacted Rotary International, and asked them what kind of database, they keep for Rotex. And Christy, I really got the answer that they don't really do that. Maybe they're trying now. But their records are really probably worse than our own. Those of us that are on the YE system, really, as you say, go back to 2015 and get contact information. But I am kind of interested in what NAEN's going to be doing with Rotex, and I'm going to pay more attention. I might even ask them what's going on. So I don't know if maybe they've got a database of Rotex members that maybe I don't have or you don't have. So something to pay attention to. NAIN's pretty accessible, so they reply to emails.
On that note, really quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I think in attending NAIN the last couple of years, I believe there's a Rotex alumni group that were creating their own district conference or their own conference. Christy, I don't know a lot about it, but I believe maybe they might have resources to invite more Rotex or to communicate with more Rotex. I'm not sure.
It's called Rotex International. You can like it on Facebook, and yeah, they're definitely developing it.
So perhaps at the Rebound, if you're going to do a Rebound package, and you're going to provide them with links to stay in communication, and that should be maybe a link to provide to your Rotex in your Rebound package. And I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Thought I could use the space bar, but it didn't want to do it. Okay, a couple things. One is that something I've noticed is that Europe, Rotex is and Rebound, it's big. It's really big. All of my students, I shouldn't say all, but a large number of them talk about things that they've done with the Rebound and how they've been involved with inbounds and so on and so forth. So it's more ingrained in Europe, and maybe we can touch base and find out maybe how they're going about it. That's creating that positivity. Now we're here, in Hawaii. It's kind of unique. We don't have that many students. We don't have any way to get people together, because you're on different islands and trying to, engage the kids. Although the Rebounds, typically, I've tried to always stay in touch with our Rebounds, and I generally know that they've, that they're involved. Although I've had a number of them go off to Europe to go to university because they get the travel bug and they disappear and they're gone off island, and that's typical for our kids, versus I think places that have 85 students a year, and you could have a big camp out or something like that, which we don't really, it's not appropriate for us. But anyway, just thought.
So going off of that, when I was on exchange last year in Austria, so we had that mentorship program where each one of the students, the exchange students, had a Rotex buddy or a Rebound buddy, where we connected with on social media, and we got their phone numbers, and we met with them almost as if they were another counselor. So sometimes students are more comfortable with certain issues going to another younger person. So that's one way. And I know someone who went to the Netherlands, and they had a really great Rotex program where the Rotex were at every event for the inbounds as well, and things like that as well. So a mentorship program or a buddy program for the Rebounds and exchange students can be really beneficial as well, and it was really fun to have in Austria.
I'm sorry, that just spurred an idea that if we recruited our Rebounds into our local Rotary clubs and asked them specifically if they were willing to serve as the counselor for our student, as long as they were at least 18, they could potentially fill that role officially.
Or even just a youth counselor, and that just provides another layer. So 2 counselors perhaps, or anything like that, or a co-counselor or something like that as well, if an adult figure, a really true experienced figure in Rotary is really something that is wanted as well, to help with some of documents and things like that.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of our Rotex don't get involved because it's not official. They have this freedom to come and go as they wish, and they haven't committed to anything. So maybe if we get them to commit and understand the important role that they're fulfilling, maybe they would become more engaged.
I also just want to mention really quick that I noticed there's some quiet people. If they want to share their mind. I really encourage the chat function as well if you don't want to share out loud, or even if you just want to comment or anything like that too.
I think it's really important also to focus group your Rotex or your rebounds. Have a Zoom meeting and focus group once or twice a year. I don't know if twice is too much, but at least once a year, focus group with them and gather their ideas and get their input as to what direction they would like to take, what feedback they can give us about engaging, and how they can continue to be a part of Rotary, and we can guide them into becoming future Rotarians.
Maybe adding Rebound students from now on to club newsletters. Those, I know my club that was sponsored me has a newsletter that I wrote little things in during my exchange and were posted to that newsletter that was emailed out. But if students are also on that newsletter, then they see the things that clubs are doing and maybe ask, oh, can I go to that event? Can I join in on that service project? That could also be an option as well. That could be on the district level as well.
Very good, very good.
So we've got about 5 minutes left, I think. So we need to do a recap. Paige, do you want to lead that recap, or do you want me to do it?
That would be the role of the reporter. So whoever the reporter was.
That was me.
Okay, well then that's your job.
Okay, so we discussed topics to consider. We discussed social media. We talked about Instagram and sending out links to social media in with the Rebound package. We talked about TikTok, possibly utilizing TikTok and in some form, and we should utilize our Rotex. If we don't know how to use the functions of Instagram or TikTok, I guarantee you our Rotex does. So we should utilize our Rotex to set up those social media accounts. We talked about obtaining feedback from Rotex on programs, and we talked about in depth, we did talk about like a Rebound package with getting more information from students, the Rotex students, to be able to use going into the future. We talked about Rebounds doing a country fair, which I thought was a fabulous idea, doing the country fair for the inbounds for the next year. Rotex for mentoring the next generation. Paige mentioned utilizing Zoom more for scheduling maybe focus groups, or for scheduling just an interactive conversation with our Rotex to get more ideas, and maybe assign duties. Let's see, what am I missing? I'm not a very good reporter, am I? Does anybody, before we end, does anybody else have any input, any questions, concerns? I do want to thank Paige for agreeing to come. I think she was right on point, that we can, our Rotex are smart, intelligent young adults, and man, we could be really using them more in Rotary, and I think this was a perfect example. So anybody else have any last comments?
I want to thank Paige. Paige, I think you did a great job wrangling a bunch of people who are, some of whom are the age of your own grandparents. And I think you did a great job. You got a great future in Rotary, and I'm looking forward to you being international president of Rotary International before you're age 40. So keep up the good work, and you'll lead us to the future.
Thank you so much. And feel free to put emails and your positions in the chat so that other people have access to that as well as an additional resource. I plopped mine in there. If you have any questions on Instagram or Rotex or the youth, feel free to email me.
That's great. Thank you.
This was a really great discussion. Thank you guys for participating.
I think we actually ended a couple of minutes early, didn't we?
Yeah, so does anyone else have any additional comments or questions really quick, or just anything else?
I'll just say to you, Paige, we have a rebound program, basically. We haven't officially become Rotex with a charter or anything like that, but we do have someone interested in putting that together. So I'm going to send her your contact information if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great.
One thing I don't think we talked about is the best rebound and Rotex go off to college usually, or they go somewhere else than their hometown, right? You guys have the travel bug. You usually don't stay in your hometown. So how can we find the students who aren't our own outbounds, but we're outbounds to other districts that now live in our boundary? That would be a great thing to find out too.
I also know at the collegiate level, there's Rotaract clubs in colleges. So I think ASU has a big club, things like that. I know my mom knows a little bit more about that than me and has a little bit more experience about that, but Rotaract clubs at high school level or at the collegiate level is a great way to find those students and can get involved.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and thank you all for all the work that you do with Rotary Youth Exchange.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.